Hello, hello, everyone. Hello, hello, and happy Monday. I hope you are doing phenomenal when you are catching this live in and through here. We are live in a couple of places. We are live on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and we're live on the gram. So I hope that you are having a good day. I hope you are having a good week when you are catching this. I pray that as we spend the next couple of moments together, this will bless you and help you quite a bit. First of all, I want to say thank you. So I'm starting this live by saying thank you. We hit a pretty big milestone here on IG, and there are over 100,000 of y'all, which blows my mind. We are at 800. I can't even get it out. We are at 800K on IG. Wild that there are 800,000 of y'all that are a part of this community, and I am honored to serve you in this way. So listen, I am ready to dive into y'all's questions. You have been sending me DMs and you have been sending me questions surrounding what does it look like for a company to, like, how to stand out in a company when your company is being what is it, reclassified, or the company is being restructured or reorganized. You have reached out to me about, am I going to be hosting another resume bootcamp? You have been reaching out to me about what to do for your second interview or your first interview. There's just been a lot of activity in my DMs. And so today we are going to tackle some of those questions here. But as you are joining the conversation, whether you're joining me on Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube, or you're joining me on IG, do me a favor. If this is your first time joining me, I want you to type a 1 in the chat. If this is your first time joining me, I want you to type a 1 in the chat and tell me where you're joining me from. Okay. If this is your first time joining me, I want you to type a 1 in the chat and tell me where you're joining me from. And if this is not your first time, if you are true to this tribe, I want you to type a 2 and tell me where you are watching me from. So if you are not new to this, but you're true to this, type a 2 in the chat. Let me know where you are from. And if you're catching this on the replay, then just comment #replay. For those of you who are commenting 1, and you're telling me where you are from, I see y'all are from Pittsburgh. I see folks from Michigan, ATL, Boston, Massachusetts. I see folks from Cali, from Mexico, from New York, my home state. What up, what up? So I'm pretty excited to chat with y'all. I'm always very excited when we get the opportunity to connect. So it's going to be good. For those of you who are commenting too, hey Fran, can you do me a favor and welcome the folks who are typing in the 1s? Okay, so if you are a 2 and you are true to this tribe, I want you to welcome all of the 1s that are coming into the room. And do me a favor, as we get into subject matter material, if you find the information that I'm going to share or that I have shared in the past helpful, would you share this with someone else who is on their career journey and is looking to take career ownership over their career and their career trajectory? Share this with someone who can benefit from this information. For all of my 2s, welcome back. It's exciting to see so many of y'all coming back. And for all of my 1s, thank you for being here. I hope that this information is helpful to you, and I hope that you can put it into application. So I am going to be answering some of your questions. One of the first questions that I got was surrounding this individual is going to their company is under new leadership. Their company is under new leadership, and they're trying to figure out, how do I stand out amongst all of the changes, all of the redirection, all of that other jazz, right? So, like, how do I stand out? My first recommendation for this individual is, I also know they shared with me that they're going to have a new boss. So how do I stand out amongst everyone else, and how do I get not on my boss's good graces, but how do I introduce myself in a way that makes the most sense? And so my recommendation for you, for anyone who is navigating a season where you are under new leadership, the first thing that I would encourage you to do before you meet with whoever the new leader is, have a very clear understanding of the value that you add to the organization and what have been your biggest contributions, the value that you add and what have been your biggest contributions. Here's why. 9 times out of 10, as a new leader, we are trying to get a better lay of the land, like who's who do I put where, what is happening, where are we struggling, where are some areas where we need to see growth. And so as a new leader, when I am meeting with someone on my team and I'm assessing this new team, I'm going to want to know what are some of the key attributes that you bring to this team and what are some of the highlights that you want me to know. The reason that I am thinking that way as a new leader is because as we are restructuring and as we are looking through new things, the old leadership is not going to operate the way the new leadership does. So you have to be very, very purposeful and intentional in terms of how you will share your biggest your biggest value adds, and the contributions that you've made to this organization. And here's the thing, for those of you who are following me, no fluff. Okay. So when I'm telling you to give me what are your biggest contributions that you have made to the organization, it should not be warm and fluffy types of things. It should be things that have impacted the bottom line that you have now brought into this organization. If you are new to my world, I'm going to share with you right now that you should be keeping an evidence list. I talk about this a lot, and my tools will probably let you know that I share this often. An evidence list is pretty much how you track the work that you've done over a 3-month time span, over a 6-month time span, over 9 months, and over 12 months. And the reason that you want to get into the habit of that is because when you are dealing with new leadership or somebody gets onto staff or something like that, you are not relying on them to give you value. You already know the value that you bring. Ooh. You are not waiting on them to give you value. You are already confident in the value that you bring. So keep an evidence list, okay? So that's going to be my response for the person who is dealing with a restructure and you have new leadership that is coming in. Before you meet with them, I'm going to encourage you to make sure that you are tracking what are the biggest value adds that you have done at the organization. So like that, when you meet with them and they tell you something like, hey, can you tell me about yourself? You have concrete data that you can share. Another place that you can get this data is from your annual reviews. So if you're getting annual reviews at work, and they give you like key responsibilities and the ones that you exceeded expectations or you met the expectations, those are value adds. And those performance reviews are likely going to be KPIs that are important to the organization. What am I saying? Leverage that information. Okay. And I don't have time to break this down a whole lot in terms of how you can do that. But you can start by looking over the last 3 months. So we're in what most will consider quarter 2, and quarter 2 is about to end at the end of this month. But look at what you did in quarter 1 and quarter 2, and how did that add value to the organization? Try to pull out what were the biggest wins or achievements that you've had, and also try to pull out what were some of the areas of challenge that you could bring improvement to. Once you have that data, then you can introduce yourself or speak with or schedule some time with whoever your new manager is. Because I can tell you that as a leader, as someone who is dealing with new team members, those are the types of things that I am looking for. Are you proactive in your thinking, or are you just wanting everybody to give you a solution? And so when you approach it that way, you're proactive and you already are bringing solutions because you were able to identify what were some of the challenges in the past 2 quarters and how you can fix those. Okay. So that's question number 1. The other question that I got, I'm going to leave this one for last, but the other question that I got is, how do I deal with a toxic supervisor and or HR? How do I deal with a toxic supervisor and or HR? There's a couple ways that you can leverage that. The first thing that I'm going to say, if you are dealing with a toxic supervisor and or a toxic HR environment, I want you to be very aware that HR, human resources, is going to be there to mitigate risk for the company. I'm going to say that one more time. HR is there to mitigate risk and deal with risk to the company. Okay. So if you are dealing with a toxic HR or a toxic leader, the biggest thing that you need to be paying attention to is your documentation. If you are dealing with a toxic HR environment or you're dealing with a toxic leader, you need to start paying attention to your documentation. Okay. So if you're following me, I want you to type documentation in the chat. Documentation in the chat. And your documentation needs to be matter of fact, okay? So you cannot have documentation that is filled with you and all of your emotions, okay? I want you to be very, very clear on the fact that the documentation needs to be on fact. So if you are dealing with something toxic and you already did your due diligence, you requested time to connect with this individual, you started to proactively look for solutions to said issues, you went to the right, you followed the chain of command, right? Because at most organizations, there's the chain of command. You need to be documenting all of those steps, okay? As they are happening. As they are happening. Not when you remember, not when you get home, not, you need to document those while you still have it fresh, because if you do not have documentation, then it will always be your word against theirs. And guess who wins? Exactly. So when you have the proper documentation, then you have a case to build upon, okay? The other option that you can take a look at is that now there's independent HR companies like Caged Bird HR, which are one of my friends, and I trust them blindly. They are very good when it comes to being able to help you with workplace policies, with exit plans, like all of it. Okay. But the first thing that they are going to ask you is, what documentation do you have? So if you don't have any documentation, the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to start documenting today. Okay. That's the first thing that you're going to start doing, is you're going to start documenting today. And it has to be from today on. I don't want you to go back off of memory, because y'all, we have a tendency as humans to remember the bad stuff really, really bad, like really bad, right? And then we have a tendency to remember the good stuff like really, really good. Like, I never did anything wrong. It was really, really good, right? There's a reason why people have a very fond memory of the good old days. I wish we could just go back to the good old days. I wish we could do this like the good old days. When COVID was at its peak, it was like, I wish we could go outside like we did when it was COVID, when we didn't have to deal with COVID. I wish that I could do this like when we didn't have to deal with COVID. Everybody wanted to go to like pre-COVID. The truth is that that is no longer how we operate. Now, post-COVID, some of the stuff that we used to do pre-COVID, you're like, you know, maybe not. I'm probably not gonna do that. So the reason why I want you to make sure that you are documenting as of today is because now you are going off of the most current and the most relevant information that you have. And a lot of people find themselves in a bit of a pickle because they will document based off of memory, and then they leave a lot of gaps. I can tell you, as a manager, as a hiring manager, as one who had to work with HR hand in hand, whenever someone said a complaint or went to HR seeking some type of information or policy information, guess who HR was reaching out to? Me, as the leader of that department. So when you are telling people, I'm going to go to HR, I'm going to tell HR X, Y, and Z, or HR is this, that, and the third, please understand that the way that the system is built up is for the protection of the organization. So if you want to start to protect you and mitigate your risk, then you need to protect the enterprise of you. And the way that you do that is by proper documentation. Who did you speak to? What time did you have this conversation? What were the goals of this conversation? How was the information received? Did you document the information? Was there a process that you followed? Can you see how documentation is not just like, oh, she spoke to me some type of way and I felt bad? Okay. What do you want me to do with that information? So documentation, if you are dealing with any level of toxicity, whether it's human resources, peer-to-peer, you and an employer, like your direct supervisor, document those types of things. Because without documentation, you will find yourself in a pickle. Hi, Adora, honey, how are you? So I want to make sure that you're paying attention to those kinds of things. The other thing that I want you to realize, because this leads me into the next kind of question that I got. And that question was, how do I make myself marketable in this environment after dealing with a really toxic work environment? The first thing that I'm going to tell you, when you are trying to transition from one like really toxic environment into another opportunity, okay, is that you need to work on unlearning the behaviors that you learned in toxicity. I'm gonna say that one more time. You need to work on unlearning the behaviors that you learned when you were in toxicity. Because what happens is that because you are hurt, because you are bitter, because you are mad, you see everything under those lenses and you miss out on opportunities because I don't trust people when people are trying to help you out. Okay. So I want you to start working on unlearning some of the things that you dealt with in toxic environments. The reason why I'm hosting a conference for women for professional development, for growth at the end of this month is because I got tired of going to conferences where everyone looked exactly the same and their lived experience were pretty much the same thing. And as a woman of color, my experience was very different. My dialogue was very different. When I mirrored behaviors in toxic environment, I was labeled as aggressive or problematic. But when others did it, they were labeled as assertive and go-getters. Anybody been there? I always felt like I had to be on. So I felt like I had to be smiling all the time because I was told that I had a mean face or I was always mean mugging. So I had to keep a smile. I had to be disarming. I had to be welcoming. Now, by nature, I am a welcoming, loving type of person. But when I am at a conference and I am learning new information, I have a very serious face. And it must be the New York in me because I am processing the information that I am listening to. And so the reason behind why I create environments and spaces for women who look like me, who can identify with me, who have been through the same thing, is because I don't want you to feel like you always have to be on. And I also want you to have a space where you can connect with others, learn from others, and create opportunities for yourself. So when you are trying to market yourself in a very real and powerful way, you need to unlearn some of the behaviors that you developed just like as defense mechanisms in toxicity. Okay? So I want you to be very mindful of that. And the way that the other thing that I want you to be mindful of, ladies, is delayed does not mean denied. That's a word for somebody today. And if that was a word for you, I want you to type that in the chat. Delayed does not mean denied. Delayed does not mean denied. And I'm going to say it again, just in case you didn't hear me the first 3 times. Delayed does not mean denied. And the reason that I'm sharing this with y'all is because I think a lot of us approach the career search process with the expectation that the moment that I submit an application, they're immediately going to call me. The moment that they see my CV or my resume, I'm immediately going to get the opportunity. When in fact, there may be some things within you that you need to work through, so like that you can step into this position all more confidently. But just because it's delayed in you stepping into the position all more confidently does not mean that you are denied. And I think that a lot of things, what I'm seeing, especially as we're working with women one-on-one, helping you write your resumes, helping you revamp your cover letters, helping you revamp your LinkedIn profiles, giving you tactics so like that you attract the right opportunities and repel the wrong ones. What I am seeing a lot of is that you already are denying yourself. Like you're already laden with like guilt and shame, and feeling like you're less than, when 9 times out of 10 you're probably already equipped for the role. But because you were surrounded or in toxic environments, you have now tried to operate out of that toxicity, but it's starting to feel like a lot of the same. And so in desperation, we apply to 400 jobs without having much direction. And then you wonder why you get so many rejections. May I submit to you that is probably because you have not stopped to identify what are the unique things and what is your UVP, your unique value proposition, or your unique value add. And so instead of applying to endless possibilities, what we are teaching you to do is to apply to specific opportunities. Notice the difference. Because possibilities can present themselves as a whole lot of distraction. But when you're applying to the right opportunities, this is how you see some people in my stories or some of the posts that I share, where there are people who are like, I got 4 and 5 offers. I'm not sure what to do. I want you to have 4 and 5 offers, but I need you to be very specific surrounding where you're going to give your time, talent, and attention, because not everybody is worthy of that. So if you're in the season where you're like, Susana, I'm not entirely sure how to market myself, I'm going to challenge you to pay attention to what is your unique value add and how have you positioned yourself as the subject matter expert. And once you have identified that, then we start to look for opportunities. But too many of y'all are paying attention to how much money is the role going to pay, which is important, but money is not the only thing. So you're focusing too much on the money, or you're focusing too much on the title. Oh, I can't apply for the director role. I need to get another certification, or I need to have more experience. Meanwhile, your director, when they go on vacation, they're putting you on their out of office. Why do you think that is, friend? May I submit to you that that's probably because they trust that you're going to get the work done while they're out. That is an indicator that you're probably ready for the next level. Okay. So I need y'all to pay attention to those things, because without that, you will continue to find yourself in the same rigmarole, applying, and then rejection, rejection. Because it's not, what I find a lot too with like our clients, y'all, is that it's not that they're underqualified. It's quite the opposite. They are overqualified. And they're overqualified, but they're applying to positions based off of the limited scope that they're at right now. So the easiest example is you want to go into an assistant director position, but you are a executive assistant. So help me understand why, if you are an executive assistant, but you want to apply for a assistant director role, why are we going to continue to apply to executive assistant roles when we know we possess assistant director qualifications? It's all about how you present yourself. Okay. So I want you to start applying from places to where you want to go, not just where you're at. Because if you're constantly applying for where you're at, then you're going to stay in the same spot. At the last resume bootcamp that we hosted, I reviewed people's resumes in real time. And one of the attendees there told me that she was responsible for managing a certain level of training and developing for a large group of people. And she was like, oh yeah, like I deal with like, I do this for like 300 people. I'm sorry, what? And she was like, yeah, so I help about 300 active soldiers do X, Y, and Z. And I was like, wait, hold on a second. Because ain't nowhere on your resume where I see that. Oh, but I didn't want to be boastful. Oh, yes, we will. Yes, we will tell the world that we are resourceful, that we know how to manage people, and we know how to manage them well. So it's all about how you present yourself. Okay. So if that's where you're at, where you have been applying to endless amounts of positions and you're not getting any results, change your strategy. The definition of insanity is to continue to do the exact same thing and expect a different result. And the reason why I don't want you to do that continuously is because with every rejection, your confidence takes a hit. With every single one. And then by the time you get to me, you feel as if you have to start at the bottom. Oh, Susana, I just need to get my foot in the door and eventually they will recognize my hard work and they'll move me up. No, baby, they won't. No, they won't. I can tell you this with confidence that the budget for new talent will always be higher than the budget for the talent that is currently there. So if you think that you're just going to get your foot in the door and eventually you'll double your salary over time, I am sorry to tell you that that's likely not going to happen unless you have an actual leader who cares for you and works with you to make that happen. But what I find a lot of by the time I work with our clients is that they have been under some really not so great management and not necessarily leadership. So, Susana, how do you tell the difference? Leaders will lead with an open hand, meaning that they will create a culture and an environment that is so sticky, like so sticky. You love going to this space because you can be creative, because you can get feedback without being torn down, because you are growing, because you are being exposed to new things, because they trust your genius. Right? So leaders will create environments that are sticky, meaning that their people can leave at any time. You can go whenever you want. But because the leader has created such a such a captivating culture, you stay. See? And that leader, notice the difference of what my hand is doing. I'm supporting my other hand because my hand is open. Okay? Poor management leads with a closed fist. And so the people are stuck inside. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to get out by any means necessary. Get me out of this place. Anybody been there? I know I have. Has anybody been there? Where you're under terrible management and all you want to do is just, can you please let me out of your grip? This is why I don't want you to apply to a whole bunch of possibilities. I rather you apply to the right opportunities. But if you don't know how to articulate your value, if you have not been keeping an evidence list, if you are not surrounding yourself with other people who also want to grow, then you will find yourself in the same environment. You will. So I want you to think through if you are looking to transition, if you're looking to pivot, if you're looking to move into a new environment, then I need you to pay attention to how you're investing your time, talent, and attention and stop applying to a whole bunch of possibilities. It breaks my heart every time I see somebody who's like, I've applied to 600 positions. What? What? Why? I know you tired because I'm tired for you. You know what it is to submit 600 job applications? But in the same token, I also know of clients of mine who have applied to maybe 10 postings. And of those 10, they've gotten 4 offers. And of those 4 offers, they've narrowed it down to 2. And then they put themselves in a position where they can choose. So if you are, that was a really long answer, but I wanted to like just bring some context and some clarity, because there's a lot of people online telling you a whole lot. Write a resume so like that you can beat the ATS system. Make sure that you're putting this on your LinkedIn profile. Make sure that you're looking over here so like that you can be the top candidate. Don't forget to do this, that, and the third. And for many of y'all, that feels really overwhelming, because to you, you've done all of that. But have you stopped to take inventory of you prior to making these changes? Okay. So I want you to pay attention to that. Because if you're finding yourself where you're struggling to articulate your value and you're still applying to a whole bunch of positions, remember this rule of thumb. If you're not getting any interviews, it's likely that your resume needs work. If you're not getting any interviews, it's likely that your resume needs work. If you're getting interviews and you're not getting any offers, it's likely that your storytelling and your interview skills need development. If you're not getting any offers, so you're getting the interviews, but you're not getting any offers, it is likely that your interviewing skills and your ability to tell a story needs work. Okay. So I want to share that with y'all, because those were kind of like the common themes that I've been getting in my DMs. I don't know how to market myself. I'm having a hard time breaking into the job market. The other thing that I want you to be aware of is the people who have career gaps. Because again, there's a lot of apprehension, and like today's live, I'm of course giving you strategy, but like I want to remove the shame and the guilt that many of you are experiencing, because I see it come through on my DMs. I may not be able to get to all of y'all in because there's so many of y'all that are reaching out to me. But the common theme is that like this fear and this shame surrounding having a gap on your resume. Honey, we are human and life happens. But like I shared before, delayed does not mean denied. And having a gap on your resume does not mean that you are not qualified. Having a gap on your resume does not mean that you are not qualified, that you are not hireable. What you need to figure out is, where do you fit in? And so this goes to my final question that I got. The last question that I have been getting quite a lot of, okay, is when am I hosting another resume workshop? Because you missed the first one, because there was issues with logging on. I'm going to be hosting another resume workshop. It's called the Resume Bootcamp. It will be the last one that I do until for a while. Okay. I've done 3 or 4 in the last couple of years, in the last couple of months. But during the Resume Bootcamp, there's 3 things that I'm going to be teaching you. I'm going to be talking about resume formatting. I'm going to be teaching you how to articulate your value. I'm going to be reviewing resumes in real time. And for those of you who want to have a private Q&A with me, you will have that option as well. So during the Resume Bootcamp, it's going to happen on June 12th. I'm going to be doing those 3 things. I'm going to be sharing with you from a hiring manager's perspective how we write, how we craft resumes for our team, for our clients. I'm going to be sharing with you the resume formats that you can use, because there's like 3 or 4. And the most important resume format that you need to be paying attention to is the one that makes sense for you. Stop trying to do everything that works for everybody else. That's the other thing that as a hiring manager is starting to get really like just really disenchanting, that everybody is trying to leverage every single same template, and there's no differentiation and there's no spark to your resume. So you sound like every other candidate. when in fact you have a whole lot of unique potential that doesn't make it onto your resume. So I'm going to be talking about that. If you can't tell, that one gets me a little spicy. I'm going to be talking about that because, again, many of you are qualified, but you're using tactics that worked for other people. And those other people are not you. Or as I would say, if I were in the Bronx where I came from, they ain't you. So why you think it's going to work for you? It's like you trying to put on my clothes. I am almost 6 feet tall. I am 5'11". And so let's imagine for a second that my friend who is 4 feet and 11 inches, fun size, is trying to put on my clothes. It's likely not going to fit her. The same is going to be true if you are trying to leverage everybody else's experience and put it on your resume because it worked for them. It needs to work for you. And I do provide you with a resume template. I don't want you to focus on the resume template. I want you to focus on what is the content and the context that you're adding to said resume. Because on June 12th, I promise you, if you join me at this resume bootcamp, it will be very different than what you are experiencing. The same level of realness that you are getting on this live will be the exact same level of realness that you will get when you join that Zoom. So I'm not hosting that resume bootcamp on any other place. It's going to be a private community conversation where it's just y'all and me. Okay. And the last one we sold out pretty quickly. We had about 100 plus people that showed. I'm only going to have about 150 seats available for people. So if you know that that's what you need, you're going to comment on IG. You're going to comment the word resume. You're going to comment the word bootcamp. You're going to comment the word bootcamp. And I'm going to send you the link. My assistant, Susana the bot, is going to send you the link so like that you can register for the resume bootcamp. Now, here's the thing. The resume bootcamp that I am going to be teaching you, it's a small fraction to help you to get to a 6-figure role. So if you are comfortable in a role right now, and it is not necessarily a 6-figure role that you are pursuing, then that may not be the event for you. I want to be very transparent. I am not for everybody. And I understand that. We good. I promise you. But what I do want to make sure that you understand is that there will be something that you will have to invest. The same way that you invest your time, talent, and attention in order for you to get a new opportunity is the same way that you will not only be getting a whole lot of information, but you will also be getting access to be able to have me review your resume. So if that is who you are, if you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, if you're looking for the possibility of me reviewing your resume in real time, which is what I do, then that will probably be the event for you to join. If you know of a fresh graduate who is like excited that they finished school, but they're having a hard time trying to articulate their value because they're a fresh graduate, this will probably be the event for them. If you are my tribe, my women, my sisters who are high achievers, but also big overthinkers, and so you are trying to put every single thing that happened on your resume and you can't figure out how you're going to get your resume from 4 pages to 2, this will likely be for you. If you are the type who is tired of hearing all of the same things in terms of make sure that you update your resume for every position that you are applying for, make sure that you're networking. Those are all of the things that I keep hearing in this space. And while it is true, those things are powerful, there's very little people teaching you how to do that. You will learn that at the resume bootcamp. So it's totally up to you. If you think that this is going to be a good fit for you, if you're looking for that kind of support, if you need a template because the one that you have you've refreshed it 900 million times and it's still not working, then that will be the place for you. Here's the other part. Not only is the bootcamp going to be live, you'll also have access to the recording for 30 days after. So if it's something that you missed or you want to go back, you will have access to the replay. This is also for my girlies who are tired of playing small. Like, you know that you want to eventually go into a higher producing or higher paying role. Notice the language that I'm using. I'm not saying management or leadership. You just know that there is more in you that you want to be able to give, and you're tired of being overlooked. Or you're also the one that they keep dangling an opportunity in front of you. And then when you get real close to it, they move it and it becomes so far out of reach, but you're not sure what to do. The resume bootcamp will be for you. So if that's what you want to do, if that's the kind of support that you need, and if you want to meet the other career strategists that are a part of my team that will be helping you and be joining me on that conversation, then that will be the event for you. But if you get nothing else from today's live, I want you to take away this one thing. Struggle does not need to be your standard. And I'm going to say that one more time. Struggle does not need to be your standard. So I've given you tea. I've given you practicality on how you can do things. Struggle does not need to be your standard. Learn to identify what is your unique value add. And thirdly, come and join me at the Resume Bootcamp. So if this helped you today, share it with somebody else. Not even for them to join us at the Resume Bootcamp. There's only 150 seats. There's almost 300 of y'all on IG, and there's another group of y'all that are joining me live on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and on YouTube. So the seats will likely go quick. But the biggest thing that I want you to take away from today is that delayed does not mean denied, and struggle does not need to be your standard. Be encouraged, my love. Be encouraged. You've got this. You just need some guidance. And that is where I come in. I didn't go through everything that I've been through just for the sake of going through it. If there is one thing that I am very, very clear about, is that I want to make sure that everything that I went through, the tears, the heartbreak, the missed opportunities, the struggle, if I can avoid that for at least one, then that's what I'm going to do. And so at the bootcamp, you'll be able to join me for that. For those of you who are watching me on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, I am going to drop the link for y'all, my loves, so like that you can join us at the bootcamp as well. Because I recognize that you're probably commenting bootcamp and it's not coming through. So just bear with me for 1 second. I promise I will drop the link for you. The Resume Bootcamp is taking place June 12th, 2024 at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Resume Bootcamp is taking place June 12th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So be there or be square. No, I'm just kidding. Just be there. Okay. I don't want you to be any shape. Just show up. If you think that this is for you and you need help, I'm happy to help y'all. My team and I, we are ready. It's a whole bunch of qualified women. Okay. And for those of you who are asking about my glasses, baby, just be ready. I'm going to drop where I get my glasses from. I have a whole new purchase and I will share with y'all where I got my glasses at, because they are a statement piece. They are also great when you go on an interview because they are a conversation starter. Listen, y'all, the things that I'm teaching y'all, they're small, but they are practical, and I do them with a reason. Every single time that somebody comes in contact with me, they never fail to talk about my glasses. I do that on purpose because 9 times out of 10, I'm very nervous meeting people. So if there is a way for me to be able to break the ice without having to do an icebreaker, trust and believe it's going to be my glasses. It's the first thing that you're going to see on my face. So if you are that type of girl who needs that kind of support, The resume bootcamp is going to be for you June 12th, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. There's 150 seats left, and there will probably be less than that after this one because people are registering. I'm watching you come in. So if you registered, hey friend, can't wait to see you. But overall, if you caught nothing else from today, struggle does not need to be the standard, and delayed does not mean denied. Okay. I love y'all, and I will catch you guys on my next live. If you have questions that didn't get answered today, pay attention to the next couple of posts that I have, because I will send you how you can submit your questions so that I can answer them live. If you comment the word bootcamp on this live on IG, I will send you the link for you to be able to register. Susana the bot, which is my assistant, will send you the link for you to register. Yes, my glasses are prescribed. There's a whole lot so that I could see y'all clear. If not, I'm a blind baddie, baby. So yes, they have prescription for sure. So yeah, if you comment the word bootcamp, you should be getting the link for you to be able to register. Again, a breakdown of what to expect. I'm going to be reviewing resumes in real time. I'm going to give you a template that you can use. I'm going to be sharing with you the different types of formats. I'm going to be giving you bullet point strategies so that your bullet points are effective, because a lot of the bullet points that I see are just you're copying your job description and you're putting it under your job title on your resume. That's not what we're trying to do. So I'm going to teach you how to do that kind of information and be impactful. It's going to take place June 12th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay. I'm going to leave this live up. So if you want to come back to it, I will also leave how you can register for it. So if you comment the word bootcamp, you will be able to get the link for you to register. If for some reason you commented the word bootcamp and it did not send you the link to register, just send me a DM and I will send you the link for you to register. Okay. So I love y'all. I hope that this live encouraged somebody today. I hope that it helps you to grow and to change, and just to see things from a different perspective, because you're already qualified. You're already good at what you do. We just got to get you paid and in the right environment. And we got to get your confidence back. Okay. So I love y'all. And I will see you on the next one. Okay. Bye, everybody. See you later, alligator.